Okay, so this is for the perimeter problem 4-3. You want to teach it something like this, right? Here's what we know. We know that the perimeter is, and you've already got this all written down, 31 centimeters. And we know that side 1 is equal to side 2. Actually, we don't want to write it like that, right? Because we want to write the length of side 1. The length of side 1 equals the length of side 2, and we know that the length of side 3 equals 1 less than twice the length of side 1. So then we'd actually just write that down in words. 1 less than twice the length of side 1. So you already have all this stuff written down and just writing it on the paper. When you're doing the 5D process, you really don't have to focus so much on the process the way you have it written, because in order to get at this idea that we are writing an equation, we really are just focused on, we can write a let statement right now, right? So let's let S, I don't really like to use S because they look like 5s, so I'm gonna do L then instead. Let L equal the length of side 1, right? So now we're gonna go ahead and write side 1, and in parentheses I'm gonna put L, and then we're gonna write side 2, side 3, and the perimeter. And so we're going to go ahead and check, right? We're going to ask for students in class tomorrow anyway to come up with numbers here, right? But for this case, we're going to say, all right, well, we don't know what the side lengths are, so we're going to try and figure it out using this 5D process, where we're just going to essentially guess and check our way through it, right? So let's just go ahead and choose. Let's just say that the first side is 5 centimeters, kind of like what you did. All right, well, if the first side is 5 centimeters and the length of side 1 is equal to the length of side 2, then that means that side 2 is also 5 centimeters because they're the same, right? Now this is where this stuff is probably pretty obvious, but in this next step, you just said, well, then the third side length is 9, or I don't know exactly how you said it, but you wrote 9, right? And what we want to do here is we really want to connect where these numbers are coming from. And so we look at this and it says the length of side 3, wow, I wrote slide. The length of side 3 is 1 less than twice the length of side 1. And so we really want to focus in on that phrasing right there. So we know that this side is 1 less than twice the length of side 1. 1 less. And so 1 less than twice the length of side 1. That means I have to find out what is twice the length of side 1 first. So I need twice the length of side 1, which we said was 5. Twice the length of side 1, and then I need 1 less than that. So if twice the length of it is 2 times 5 is 10, what's 1 less than 10? 9. We subtract 1, right? And we get 9, which equals 9 in this case. And now we can go ahead and do our perimeter, which is 5 plus 5 plus 9, or 5 plus 5 plus 2 times 5 minus 1, which ends up being 19, right? And then we can go on and say, okay, so now 5 was too small because we know that our total perimeter is 31. That's what it says up here. And so let's try and use 10. Let's see if 10 works. Well, again, side 1 is equal to side 2. So if side 1 is 10, then side 2 is 10 as well. And now we have 10 and 10, and side 3, which we know is 1 less than twice the length of side 1. Well, this time we said side 1 was 10, so we have to figure out what's twice that. So 2 times the length of side 1, that's 2 times 10. Plus we're going to do 1 less than that, which ends up being 20 minus 1 is 19. And so again, for our perimeter, 10 plus 10 plus 2 times 10 minus 1, which ends up being 10, 20, 30, 40 minus 1 is 39, which is too big. Again, we're trying to get to 31, so let's go ahead and guess the 8 like you had. And again, side 1 and side 2 are equivalent. Notice that we keep going back to, we keep explaining, side 1 and side 2 are exactly the same. So 8 and side 2 is going to be 8, and side 3, again, it's 1 less than twice the length of side 1, so we go back to side 1, which was 8. So we're gonna have twice the length of side 1, so 2 times 8, and then we need 1 less than that, so minus 1. Well, 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 1 is 15. And so we get 8 plus 2 times 8 minus 1 equals, and that's 16 plus 15, 31. Yay, we figured out what the side lengths are. And this is where we can now take that next step and say, okay, but we had a let statement right up here, and we said that we were going to let L be the length of side 1. And so while we can go through and we can guess and check this all day, some problems aren't that easy and they're not as nice. And so we use algebra as a way to make it faster, essentially. I mean, not that speed is the thing, so we probably don't want to focus on that. Maybe we shouldn't say that. But to make it more straightforward, so we don't have to keep going and going and going and trying a bunch of different numbers. Because essentially you're calculating a lot more here than you are if you just say, all right, we said that side 1 was L, and so we put our letter L there, and we know that side 2 is the same as side 1. So we look at these patterns up here. This side 2 column is always exactly the same as side 1, which means that that's going to be L. And then again, if we look at what we did here, we took twice the length of side 1, and then we needed 1 less than that, so we subtracted 1. And so we follow the same exact pattern. And so we have 2 times L minus 1. And again, we don't know what that equals because this time it's an L, but we can bring that over here and do exactly what we did here, side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3. This is all side 3, right? And that gives us our perimeter, which we know has to be 31. And so we can take side 1, which was L, plus side 2, which was L, plus side 3, which is 2 times L minus 1. And now we have an equation that we can solve, right? And again, we use this guess and check method to get the equation, but eventually you'll get to a place, and this is what you can tell the students, eventually they'll get to a place where they don't have to use this, or they don't have to write it down anyway to get this equation. But now we have this equation right here, which we can solve, right? Let's try that again. L plus 2 times L minus 1 equals 31, and we can gather all of our L's together. 1, 2, 3, 4 L's. So that's 4 times L minus 1 equals 31. We can go ahead and make a 0 pair on both sides by adding 1. So we get 4 times L equals 32. We can undo this multiplication by dividing, and we get that L equals 8. Oops, run out of room there. And so we can see how we can go straight from this guess and check, this systematic, but it has to be really written out this way or students aren't going to make that connection. We have to write it out. We have to be cognizant of tying what's happening in the words here to what's happening in the expression for side 3, or this equation the way I have it written, right? You have to make those connections or the students aren't going to see it.